Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 2, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 2 for this season, otherwise entitled The Ties That Bind. But yeah, let's watch the trailer and then we'll talk about everything.
You're having visions?
I know what it's like to have those kinds of attacks.
You can't go there by yourself. Let me go with you, just to watch your back.
You're more of a liability than a hero.
What are you seeing?
Destruction.
Like a planet being destroyed?
So yeah, last episode, the premiere, Episode 1, great way to kick off Season 2 because we dealt with so much fallout from the end of Season 1 while also setting up some of the main elements. I don't think necessarily it chucks us straight into the story, but definitely sets up a lot of stuff that we're going to be seeing play out in not only this episode, but the following episodes to come. I guess the big question that a lot of people have is whether the storylines we're getting now are meant to stretch till the end of the season, so that's episode 15, or if it's up until like an episode 7 and there is like some form of like a mid-season break, whether it's 2-3 weeks or something like that, or if the story just plays out completely throughout the entire season. That's a wait and find out. We wouldn't know at this point unless like the showrunners or something confirm that at a later point, but at this moment, that's a wait and find out. But yeah, in episode 1, as I said, we got all the fallout. We got to meet the new character of Lieutenant Mitch Anderson, who you can tell is going to be quite the issue for good old Clark and Superman and I guess, the family that we're dealing with and everything like that. And of course, we saw Natalie and I guess with her father, John Henry, get used to living in this world that isn't theirs. They're sort of living this artificial life of sorts because they're just trying to live through and survive when they're not really living at the same time. It's a bit weird. But at the end, we do see Lois reach out to Natalie after struggling for not only just this episode, but for the past 3 months in regards to that whole situation where Natalie is the daughter she never had, and Natalie is seeing Lois as her mother who died on her earth. It's just an awkward situation. But Lois reaches out and they're able to, come to a nice understanding, and they're going to try and work on it, which leads to not only Natalie, but also John Henry moving back onto the farm. Obviously, John was there at the end, in the back half of last season. But yeah, let's see how that goes. And of course, Superman's been having these head pains, which continue on into this episode, and I'm sure for episodes to come. But right at the end of last episode, Superman hears a noise, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm sure most of you were thinking that as well. And we zoom down into the mines where, Superman had sort of like centered the earthquake that was going on early in the episode. And we see a big hand reach through and sort of reach down. So something is coming up from beneath, which, tied into the title for that episode, which was What Lies Beneath. Now, this is the big thing before we move on to anything else. It's not a spoiler because the showrunner has come out and confirmed this in an interview. And I think most people thought this was the case, but this is just might be a spoiler. I'm not too sure what I put in the title. I guess it mattered how I felt. But the showrunner, Todd Helbing, confirmed that this is Doomsday. And comic readers would know this was Doomsday. I was like, in my video, I was like 90% sure. It was like he was my main choice. But I was like, they could twist it. Because I was like, would they have used Doomsday? Maybe they were using another character to replicate Doomsday's storyline if they couldn't use Doomsday. The showrunner confirmed it's Doomsday, and I'll explain Doomsday's story in the comics and how that scene is pretty much a direct translation from that storyline. But we'll get to that in a bit further into the video. But of course, before we break down the trailer and talk about everything that needs to be talked about, we will quickly read out the synopsis or description for this episode, as it does give us a bit more context as to what's going on. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your general thoughts, opinions, theories, predictions, everything like that in the comment section down below. I'm always curious to read them. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're looking forward to this episode, why not drop a like on it? Clark opens up to Lois about his ongoing struggle with visions and admits that there is only one person who might be able to help. Meanwhile, Lana receives some unexpected news and tensions begin to rise between Lois and Chrissy. Lastly, Sarah breaks plans with Jordan to spend time with Natalie. So yeah, let's start it off. So in this trailer, we do see Superman continuing to struggle with visions that are impacting him actually being Superman and being able to do that job efficiently and I guess properly and safely. Now it appears he goes to take down this group here at like a hangar, like a plane hangar. Is that an aviation hangar? I don't know what's the correct term. A hangar. We'll just call it a hangar. And they seem to be holding some people hostage. Now, this could be like Intergang. I think they were in season 1. I'm not 100% sure who it is. You only see their back there. Evil villain dudes who are holding people hostage. So it could be Intergang, it could be anyone else. But it wouldn't surprise me if during this portion of the episode he has these head pains and visions again that then lead to lead him to messing it up and being in the DOD as we see in the trailer, and that like they're doing some recovery and scans afterwards. And even adding to this, we have Lieutenant Anderson telling Superman that he is more of a liability than a hero at the moment with all the stuff that's going on, which would really only give Lieutenant Anderson like more backing for what he is doing with these powered soldiers that we were introduced to in the back half of last episode. But along with like him having these visions and episodes while he's actually Superman, we have Clark in the Kent farm having these episodes in the kitchen with everyone around, including Natalie, who's rocking a new hairstyle. And I think I said this in my review for episode 1, but I'm sure Natalie like wouldn't be 100% comfortable living in the household of the doppelganger of the man who murdered her mother. At least it would be in the back of her mind every now and then. And these episodes that Clark is having would easily or could easily freak her out and lead to certain things and more tension. So I think we might get a hint at in this episode, like with him having an episode in front of her. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But here's an interesting thing. So we do have Jordan wanting to go out and help his dad. Now, in the first episode, we saw him do the heat vision and it seemed much more controlled and it seemed like he had more of a grip on his powers, or at least that element of his powers. So it makes you wonder, like, could this portion of the season, because Superman's going through all this stuff, see Jordan develop more than expected, seeing he may have to pick up the loose ends that his dad can't tie up due to what's going on. So we could see that, or it could lead to Jordan being a bit of a rebel and doing his own thing, especially with something that was mentioned in the synopsis as well that might drive him to do his own thing or spend his time doing something else. So I think we could see that develop a bit more, but once again, that's a wait and find out. But it seems like they might be setting that up. But here's the thing. So there's a big question about like, what are the visions? So it looked like the visions were the mines and everything and a lot of rock crumbling. But then he says that he sees like the earth being destroyed or the world being destroyed. But I think what Superman is seeing is Doomsday's history and Doomsday's visions, if you want to call it, of his past. Because I think Superman is seeing the worlds that Doomsday destroyed before landing on Earth. Which in the comics is what which is what I was referencing earlier. Is that when Doomsday was born, he was born on Krypton through a scientist, like through a lot of different, scientific things, It's like, I think he was a baby. They made the baby die due to the elements and then used the remains to keep doing, and then built up through constant repeats of that process to be Doomsday. Whenever he dies, he comes back stronger through that process. So what Doomsday did is that when he escaped Krypton, he jumped to different Earths, or different worlds, different planets, and decimated them, doomsdayed them, if you want to call it. But what happened is that on the Earth, or the world, or the planet before he landed on Earth, he was like captured and he wasn't able to do it. He was actually sort of defeated, or at least restrained. And when they shot him into space and he landed on Earth, he landed with such force and power that he was driven and buried extremely far under the Earth's surface. And now, however long ago that was in the Arrowverse and how they want to explain that, he is now close to making his way to the top. Now, I guess the big question, was he always making his way to the top? Or was he woken up by something? Was that what Tal-Rho or Morgan Edge did last season? Was it something else? That's for us to wait and find out, but he's almost to the top. It was a long way to the top, but at least he'll get to rock and roll pretty soon. But here's the other big question. It's Doomsday. They're following like some element of the comic story, at least in regards to how he, like, what happened when he first came to Earth and then how he emerges. Is this leading to a Death of Superman story? I mean, we have Steel, as in John Henry Irons. We have a Superboy, Jordan, and Eradicator, Tal-Rho, Morgan Edge. Like, he was the Eradicator. If we had a version of it, they could still do it. Like, all we would need is Cyborg Superman to finish off the reign of the Superman side of things, and boom. So are they leading to that? I want to say no, but at the same time, you can't deny the setup. Like, all those characters are there. So maybe? Because he dies, but he doesn't really die. So maybe they could do... I guess it would be this season. I mean, it'd be one hell of a storyline. And especially they can adapt it the way that they want. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon and say they're going to do it just because, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. It's only episode 1, and this is only just a promo for episode 2 that doesn't show a ridiculous amount. But I mean, at the same time, there's just a lot of things there, isn't there? But that's all really from the trailer to talk about, and there is a couple of things from the synopsis to talk about that aren't in the trailer. First thing, there's more drama at the Smallville Gazette. We did hear in an interview leading into season 2's premiere that Clark would step back into the reporting side of his life at some point in the season, but we might be waiting on that due to what's going on with him. I doubt we're going to be getting an episode 2. We could, but I'd be surprised just due to what's going on with him. And secondly, Sarah and Natalie become friends. So Sarah Cushing, as in Jordan's girlfriend. So this is like sidelining Jordan in the process, because she's sort of like ditching plans with Jordan to spend time with Natalie. So I'm sure that will make those two of Natalie and Jordan get on well. Like, hey, taking the time that I want my girlfriend, I'm totally fine with that. But this could lead to Jordan spending his time on developing his powers more, especially if he feels that his dad needs the help. So he might go, well, I'll spend my time doing that. So we might get something along those lines. Now, there are no promo images at the moment from when I'm making this video. Obviously, they will come out, but at the moment, they're not out, so I can't talk about them in this video, unfortunately. But, yeah. But, that's all to talk about. There wasn't a ridiculous amount of stuff from the trailer to talk about. It was more extrapolating, if you want to call it, stuff from last episode, how it plays into that trailer, and then what it could mean going forward. But if you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about everything we went over and all of that. I'm very curious to hear what you guys are thinking. Do you want Death of Superman in this season, or could it be that storyline but without Superman dying? I don't know, something along those lines. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.